Hi, Liam Richard here from Crossaxle, and this is our coffee and chairs. Not quite coffee and cars, coffee and chairs. We're always going to be in chairs somewhere. Originally, we had a plan to do a discussion type feature whilst driving in the car, but we discovered we get too carried away doing that, so don't actually get much discussed that's relevant or particularly interesting to anyone out there. So now we're making a conscious effort to sit down, go through some news stories and articles of the week and see what we can come up with. So
yeah, but this is also something that can be developed.
Yes.
Maybe if you have an idea of something that you'd want us to talk about, or something that a discussion that you might think is relevant, then let us know. We do get people talking or telling us on Instagram about certain things which could be quite interesting as well.
Yeah.
But then also, like the idea we said about testing products, we could also maybe make this part of the same thing.
Yeah, it can be a bit of a small review type program, and if you've got an interesting location you wish to invite us along to, then we're happily do the production from there.
Yeah. Well, this actually could become a podcast, or it might just be a YouTube sit down and chat and coffee and cars. Well, yeah, coffee and chairs.
Are they actually chocolates left over from Christmas? Because
no, they get refreshed.
Oh right, I was going to say that's mad.
So we have a selection of Christmas chocolates.
It's now February. You can't have chocolate that's left over. That's just unbelievable.
So again, this thing might change, but what I've put together is a quick list of things that I've noticed through watching YouTube videos, seeing things online, and again, all subject to change. So I just thought for this first episode, quick 5 questions.
Yeah.
If people find it interesting and relevant, fantastic.
Give us a thumbs
up. If not, give us some feedback. But yeah, so again, watching YouTube, I noticed the Fiat 124 Spider. It's a car that's not been out that long, really, has it?
No, I think it's been out about 3 years now, give or take. Obviously, it is just a tarted up Mazda MX-5, although I do love the styling of it.
But one thing that's quite strange is, don't ask me why, but I went on the configurator, and it's not actually now listed on the Fiat website. So
was this your midlife crisis car?
I was looking for Porsches, and then I put in a price list of what I could find convertible in a certain price range, and one at the Fiat dealer came up. It was a almost new ex-demonstrator for a really good price. It was like a brand new 68 plate car with like 400 miles on it at a really daft price. So I was like, that's
worth
half price. Don't know if I could fit in it and whatever, but I just thought it was a bit strange how it's not actually now on the Fiat website. So
I haven't heard anything, or if there's been a press release saying they're discontinuing it, then I've missed it. But maybe they're narrowing down where it's available or how it's available. I'll have to do some research into that and see if we can find out a bit more.
Because again, I didn't actually go onto it, but I didn't know whether the Abarth version is still available, or if that's going to be discontinued.
It could be something as daft as they're going to continue with the Abarth version, because that may be selling far better than the standard version, because most of the 124s I've seen around have been the Abarth version.
Yeah.
So they may have just discontinued it from the standard product line.
It's got a little bit more pep to it, and
that's it.
It's a bit more sporty, so it probably looks a bit more youthful and appeal to a bit more people.
It's probably got a wider appeal, I think. Yeah. So it could be something as simple as that. But I'll do some research and see if I can find out any real juicy information.
Following on from that kind of theme, the 2020 Toyota Supra. In your opinion, hit or miss?
Well, I always liked the BMW Z4. I thought it was quite a nice car. So now it's got a Supra badge in a few different shapes. I think it will be a hit one way or another. Toyota are quite clever. They go into things with their eyes open normally. They don't have, ignore the charisma, they don't have many flops.
But the cult status of Fast and Furious definitely helped the last.
I would say the old Supra became very popular and still is. I even know someone that's ordered 2 of the new ones, one for him, one for her type thing. So and I think they're going to be popular. Right. Whether they're popular with who we would imagine them, or the older Supra was popular with. I don't know, because the Z4 thing is hanging over it almost like a anvil ready to drop. But the Z4 is not a bad car, so it's not a bad heritage to be coming from, or a bad sort of chassis platform to be using. So
in your opinion, hit or miss?
I think it'd be a hit. I don't know if it's going to be a big hit, but I think Toyota would be alright. I don't think they're going to struggle. And I dare say in some of the upcoming car chase type movies, it's going to have been placed here and there. There's the new Hobbs and Shaw movie with Statham and The Rock in. I would be surprised if it hasn't made an appearance in that.
So, do you know when it's scheduled to be released for actually on the public road?
No, I know it's soon.
Because it'd be interesting if we go to some car shows and we see it, at least to see it in the flesh.
Yes. I'm not sure. I'll have to do some research in that and see if I can find out when it's actually due to be released. I know they were taking pre-orders in September, October time, so it can't be far off now. It's going to be springtime.
Yeah. So following on from the popularity of cars, Suzuki Jimny.
Oh yeah, great.
Well, you've told us that we're actually getting one for review. So
We are. We've got one coming in a month or two. To play with and give it a thorough test. The nice people at Suzuki have been kind enough to let us have one, and
I don't know why. I'm actually more excited for that than the Civic Type R. I think basically I had a Suzuki Jeep as my first car when I first passed my test. I wanted the convertible, but I had a hardtop. It was still fun. It was fantastic. First car, and it's like, you know, I used to go to clubs and used to bounce up curbs and park it in really daft locations. And I've actually been looking for an SJ 413 or Samurai for a little while now.
They're almost like gold dust now, because so many were turned into off-roaders, chopped about. Rust wasn't their best friend. So if you can find a mint, especially a Samurai.
You can't find mint ones in this country at the moment that I've seen, but I've found one on eBay that they want £2,500 for, and it's rusty.
Okay.
There's a barn find for £600, but it is a restoration project.
I mean, to be fair, they're probably a good little car to restore. There's not a lot to them. You can disconnect everything with a 10mm spanner, I think.
So that was one of the reasons why I'm interested in the Jimny.
I think the Jimny's it's already becoming popular.
Yeah.
When it hits the ground properly, I think you're going to see a lot of them around.
See, I don't think they've even had to sell it or market it properly, because it just seems to have hit cult status before it's sold.
I think the styling of it's got very much almost a G-Wagon rugged type look about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got that oomph front end look, and it looks a bit chunkier than the older model, and I think it's going to appeal to lots of people.
Yeah.
You from a heritage type background, I like the look of it, and I think it's going to be a great car. The old one was fun to drive, unless you want to go fast or round corners fast.
I think for us as Crossaxle, it could actually be a really cool stickered up kind of car.
I think as just a promo vehicle, I think it would be a brilliant thing. Space is obviously going to be limited in it, but 9 times out of 10 it's just 2 of us going somewhere, so you can feel the back seats and boot and everything else. But I'm looking forward to that, because I think that will be something fun to.
Yeah, maybe we have to do something a bit different, like not major off-road, but a little bit more off-road.
No, we're taking it somewhere that's not covered in tarmac.
Yeah. Something that we tried to cover in the drive-in version of this, and something that it's a bit personal, I guess. Again, being a graphic designer, I'm led by design and by the way things look, and one car that really seems to get my goat is the Rolls-Royce Cullinan.
Yeah.
It's been hit by an ugly stick, and you look at the Phantom and it's like, wow, I would love a Phantom, but I wouldn't ever consider a Cullinan because it's pig ugly.
It did fall out of the tree and hit every branch. It's not a pretty vehicle. I think on Instagram, Chris Harris summed up the reason it exists better than anyone else. Well, I think it was actually in an article he wrote. Why is it there? Because someone will buy it. You know, it's not a pretty car, but I dare say Rolls-Royce will more than sell enough. Not necessarily in the UK. I don't think it's something intended for the UK market as such. It's intended for the Middle East. That's the bulk of its customer. I think they'll be going out painted gold. They'll be going out embellished with another $100,000 worth of extras. You know, and they'll sell. They will sell them because of what they are. Because it doesn't need to look pretty. It's the fact it's a Rolls Royce that you can now drive across your dunes in. And I think that's where it comes from. Design wise, I'm not quite sure what happened there. I think they started designing it, had some Rolls Royce styling, and fell asleep, and someone went off and built, you know, where they spilt the coffee on the.
See, I can't get $330,000, is it dollars or something? But like a a Range Rover, top of the line autobiography, is almost similar sort of build quality and luxury opulence, but you're getting a far superior off-road vehicle, better looking, I think. The Range Rover, don't get me started on the Discovery. I think it's been designed by the same people that did the Cullinan, but I really don't get it.
The difference being is the Range Rover does what it does very well, always has done ever since the first generation. The difference being the top of the line Range Rover is something around that £150,000 mark. It's not a Rolls Royce. I think it's as simple as brand.
Badge.
It's literally, you're paying for that badge. And Rolls Royces do have an exceptional level of luxury to them. There's something about the way they drive, there's something about the finish. Don't get me wrong, I don't think it's $100,000 over a Range Rover.
150.
150 better than a Range Rover. But there's slightly different finish, slightly more luxurious, slightly better leather, and it's the badge. It will be the badge. You know, you look at a lot of cars out there, many of them aren't worth what they are, but you're paying for the brand.
Yeah.
Kia are a good case in point, because they were always viewed as fairly cheap cars. But they have put their prices up a little bit, but then they've been releasing things like the Stinger and the latest Sportage, and the level of finish in these things
if we can get
much
a Stinger,
better.
I'd love that. If we can get one of those to review.
We'll work on that then. But the level of finish is much better. So
yeah. Isn't that because they've taken someone from either Audi or BMW or something?
They have adopted some German designers, I believe. And so they're up in their game, but they're never going to compete, or they're going to be a long way off competing with Mercedes, purely because of the badge. Yeah. You know, even if Kia were to put out an equivalent to the S-Class that was as comfortable, as luxurious, as nicely finished, they couldn't charge the premium because they haven't got the badge, even though it comes with a 7-year warranty and, you know, all singing, all dancing and support.
So to finish off this first episode, I've thought of a bit of a quick fire round.
Yep.
So this is no thinking about it, just off the cuff, first answer. Excuse me. So
he's had a cold for like 6 weeks now.
It seems to have come back. So Ferrari F40 or F50?
F40, gotta be.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Manual or automatic?
That's tricky, but I would go auto nowadays. I'd have always said previously I'd have always gone manual, but autos are so good now. I've swung.
Modern or classic?
I would say classic. There's something about modern cars. I know this is quick fire, but modern cars are a lot of the brands, a lot of the cars are much of a muchness.
Same box as on.
And in 20, 30 years' time, most of the current cars on the road aren't going to be classics. Can't be classics because no one will be able to keep them on the road. Because electronic failures will demonise them. So a classic today will still be a classic in 20, 30, 40 years. You know, and I think some of the classic cars, even if you look at, you know, the early M5s and things like that, they're not what you necessarily think of as a classic. You might think of a Mark II Jag.
Yeah.
But they are classic cars. You know, the styling, just the way they are look, and they're becoming collector's items. I mean, you in some of your discoveries have discovered some of the cars you used to own are now gone shooting up in value. So,
well, I looked at a Peugeot 309 GTI the other day, and they're like $8,000.
Yeah, exactly. And
I ended up
give it away for £100.
Yeah, well, £1,200 I ended up selling mine for.
Yeah.
So, M3 or M4?
3. Got to be a 3. I know BMW have got this 4 Series out, but it's just fitting in a gap. It's car manufacturers. It's cheaper and easier for them to build things that they used to have to spend a lot more time developing a particular platform for. So of course they can build these like the Range Rover Velar, which fits between the Sport and the Evoque. It's slightly bigger than the Evoque, slightly smaller than the Sport. Years ago they wouldn't have dreamed of building it because our customers would have gone for one or the other, but they worked out there's a 20 grand gap that they could utilise. So they built something to fill that gap because technology's moved on. They can machine new panels and things a lot easier, and I think this is where the M4s come from. I don't think it needs to be there, but then.
See, I think personally, the M3 when it was like the E46, when it was a 3-door,
yeah,
and the next shape as well. Was it the E92 or something?
Yeah,
I don't know the numbers now.
BMW
yeah, I lost it when it was the E46, and that was like the last one I knew.
Yeah, 46 I can recognise.
But anyway, it was 3 doors, and then all the ones subsequently seemed to be 5 doors.
Yeah.
The 4 is a 3-door.
Yeah.
But haven't they just released a 4-door now? I really don't understand that, because I was looking at the 420 and the 435 diesel,
yes,
and they do one called the Grand Coupe, which is a 4-door. I don't get the mentality. You've done like a 3 Series, which was your 5-door car or your 4-door car, whatever. Then you did the 4 Series, which was supposed to be a 2-door coupe. Now you make it a 4-door.
The trouble is, BMW and Audi always have this ongoing choppy battle. Go back a few years, you had Audi had like the 2, the 4, the 6, the 8, and BMW had like the 3, the 5, the 7, and that was the main crux of it. All right, there was the 1 Series Beamer, and we won't talk about the early models of that. That looks stupid, but then Audi said, "Oh, we're going to release an A5, and then we're going to release an A7. We're going to make slightly different style changes and coupe versions of of the 4 and the 6 that fit in the gap." So BMW obviously need to follow suit, because they may, in the grand scheme of things, they may not have lost many customers, but I'm sure that someone in BMW somewhere sat there and thought, well, if they're building that, let's us extend.
I just think it's crazy. But anyway, so that's the first kind of episode.
Cars and chairs.
So, do we do a kind of outro? Or?
Yeah. So, okay, well, thank you for joining us for the first episode and the inaugural episode of Coffee and Chairs, where we talk about cars. And we will have more coming up. We're going to start reviewing some items at some point, and hopefully travelling to different locations. At the moment we're sat in Richard's living room, which is very comfortable. I'm sure next time we'll be at mine, or...
Except for this plant in the way.
No, the plant's fine. Do you not remember that sci-fi TV programme from the 80s? I can't remember what it was called now. But that had a plant that whistled around and attacked people.
It's supposed to be good for the oxygen.
That's it. But anyway, yeah. So yes, thank you for joining us. Please hit that like button if you like it. Hit that subscribe button, and
but also
see you next
give us
time.
some feedback.
Oh yeah, it would help. Give us some feedback if there's anything you want us to talk about, anything you're interested to know. We are quite good at researching stuff, so if there's anything you're stuck with that you're trying to understand, just give us a shout, drop us a comment, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.